Coming through with the strength in you. Dun 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 dun. Coming through with the strength in you. Yeah, you. Hey, coming through with the strength in you. What it do, boo? Coming through with the strength in you. You made it. Good job. Strength in you. Coming through. Strength in you. Coming through. Hey, boo. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. Strengthen You present Straight Talk. It is your girl, your everything, your energy, your morning light, Cynthia Joy, aka Strength in the Building. Hey, boo, we made it. Guess what we made it through? We made it through the weekend. You know what that means. That means we're here on purpose with purpose, and we have the opportunity to find the purpose. It's not over yet. So if you woke up, here is your opportunity at life, honey. You are here, breathing and blessed, and we are ready to celebrate life and just talk about greatness. But okay, I'm super excited in my spirit. I did something over the weekend that, as a stroke survivor, I didn't think I would fit in. I didn't think that I would belong. I didn't think I would be accepted. I was freaking terrified. But before I talk about my terror and how the weekend went, I want to talk about some things that's truly important, not only for myself, but for you. Because when we all know better, we get to do better and we get to change the game a little bit. So, what are we going to talk about first? You already know we got a couple acronyms and a couple of numbers, well, a few numbers that we need to know and talk about. Because again, we're all battling something and I want to make sure we put the resources out there for us all. So the first thing we're going to talk about is track, TRACK. This is for those of us who deal with diabetes, those of us who families deal with these things. Prevention is key. When you know better, you do better. So to keep those numbers down, whether it's diabetes, blood pressure, or anything, this works for us all. T, take your medications. R, regularly exercise. 15 minutes a day can keep a heart attack away. A, um, add more healthy foods to your diet. That is extremely important. What you put in you is what comes out of you. So that's what that A is all about. Then C is check your ABCs regularly, okay? What's your ABCs? That is your A1C, your blood pressure, and your cholesterol. These things can change your life. And then K, kick the smoking habit. These are things that can just bring those numbers down and keep you alive longer because you matter. And we want you to be here a little bit longer. And then we're going to talk about the next acronym right after that. Be faster. Okay, this is the stroke acronym. You can save a life. A student has saved a teacher's life with this acronym. B, balance. Okay, you notice that the balance just can't be, it's not there. It can't be held up right. They're falling over. They haven't had nothing to drink. They ain't did no drugs, but they balance is off. Then E, the eyes can't seem to focus. They shift, and sometimes it just stare off in space. Remember that these symptoms and things are not for every stroke, but these are the, I guess, generic. These are the main ones that you find. So balance eyes. Then the F is face. Okay, your face starts to droop. One of them sides, it don't. It happens on either side. It just depends on where your stroke hit. And then you have the S, which is speech. Ask them their name, and then maybe it's slurred and they can't get their words out. So that means the T is in effect. It's time. It's time for what? That ER. That's the emergency room. So again, balance, eyes, face, arms, speech. Time for the emergency room. And then last but not least, now we have a new term being used for suicide, and it's called unalive. And people have been unaliving themselves. So here we are talking about it. 988. It is the Lifeline hotline. You don't have to call. You can text it. You can even just hop online. They don't need to know all your business. They just need to know you're going through something and they need, well, you need them at the moment. So just know we have resources out there. There is nothing that you need to do alone. Don't do life alone. Reach out to 988 if need be. Um, get you a counselor, a therapist, a coach, a mentor. Know that we all been through things and we all have our own inner trauma. So it's important that we reach out to the people who are licensed and who are trained to handle these things. And last but finally not least, I know I said that already, but this is truly last but not least, okay? The SM, no, the, yeah, the S, the SAMSHA, that is the Drug and Alcohol Hotline. Now, again, we're dealing with something, and I just wanted to make sure I put these resources up there because you never know who's listening, who's watching, who's needing these things. And the number to them is 1-800-622-4357. Do not hesitate to reach out to these people. Everybody went to school, learned what they learned so they can be who they are. And so they have the tools to help you get through whatever it is that you go through. So reach out, let them help you. Now, here we go. We're about to talk about it, honey. Fear, okay, it was super loud. Then faith had to stand in front of it and get a little bit louder. And guess what I had to do? I had to show up anyway. This is life. I'm speaking to you from Mrs. Cheyenne Mountain's perspective, who was competing as Mrs. Colorado on Saturday. I had so much fear in me because not only am I a stroke survivor, well, let's back up just a little bit. When you think of pageantry, especially in how I grew up, I'm going to be honest and we're going to be clear about this. When you think of pageantry, you think of petite women, you think of the mean girl, you think of models, you think of rich, you think of white. Let's be clear. I don't see many of us, especially from the hood, in these things. So, me being from the south side of Chicago, I'm a stroke survivor. I'm a black woman from the ghetto. So, I just had fears in me because of my own perceptions. Nobody ever said these things to me, but in what the TV and the media always put out there, they show you things and you start to think that this is really what it is. But the truth of the matter is, things are what you make it. And so I had these perceptions of what a pageant would look like. So even though I entered last year, I still didn't think I belonged. Let me be for real and honest with it. I didn't think I belonged. But something in me said, it's people who look like you who need to see you do this thing. So I had to put my big girl panties on and say, I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do this thing. So I entered this pageant. I got this pimp limp. I'm like, everybody else walking with poise and with grace and with all these things. And here I am, pimp limp. But because I'm a comedian, I knew how to make light of the situation. But that doesn't mean that the fear did not live there. Okay, the fear was there. Super, it was screaming at the top of his lungs to me every reason in the world not to show up. Don't go. Don't do this. Don't everything to deter me from this pageant. But I don't know. The spirit and my craziness said, we're going to do it anyway. So then my faith kind of stepped in front of my fear, and it was like, he won't bring you to none. He won't get you through. So we're gonna keep pushing through with that strength in you. So that's what I did, and I showed up anyway. So, as I said, the fear, boom, it was there. Like we go through life, we fear how we're going to walk in a room, who's going to say what about us, how we talk, how we look, how we act, how we dress, all the things. And so we oftentimes talk ourselves out of something. But then the faith, it shows up in front of the fear. And you remember that only you can walk through your journey the way you're walking through it. Only you can do what you're doing the way you're doing. And God didn't bring you this far to leave you. And just like I'm sure everybody who's trying to build something has a fear of failing, that's what I felt during this pageant. But like I said, that faith in God and the faith that somebody on the other side was going to see me and they was going to be inspired to dream big, to come outside their comfort zone, to do something that they never thought they'd do before. That's what happened. So what did that allow me to do? That allowed me to show up. Just like it allows you to show up. When things seem like I don't know what's going on. How am I gonna handle this? How how am I gonna tell this person that they're not doing what I need them to do? How am I gonna tell this person that I need them to do a little bit more? Things show up, but you show up anyway and you deliver the information that you need to deliver. And although mine wasn't a speech that I needed to deliver, it was my presence that I needed to deliver. Because again, there's not many walking around like me with confidence and their shoulders back and saying, I'm here. That's what I did, y'all. And that's just saying in anything in life, even though that there's a fear, if you believe in yourself and what you bring to a table, you're going to step out on faith and you're going to show up anyway because you recognize that can't nobody do you like you. So whatever it is that you have to teach, only you can teach it. But you can't teach it if you don't show up. So it's so important that you learn to show up even when you're scared. And it doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. It doesn't mean that you're less than. It just means you're a person. And as a person, sometimes fear shows up in building. It shows up in falling back because sometimes we overdo and we don't learn when to let people fall because that's how you build success. People have to fall, not just you. Sometimes the person that you want to help, you help them more by just stepping back. And that's again where that faith comes in because you're afraid of what may happen if you don't help. But if you have faith in them and what they're capable of, then your faith will allow them to show up for them, just like you need to show up for you. And I learned all this. I've been kind of knowing it, but in the fear that I experienced with doing this pageant, it got even greater because I learned not only is fear a normal part of discomfort, but faith is as well. The biggest thing to learn throughout it all is to show up. Show up in those rooms that you're not sure if you're going to fit in. Because again, you never know who in that room is just like you. Going to this pageant and being the only one with a pimp limp and being the only one whose left hand doesn't work and being the only one with limitations. Although I was scared, I inspired other models who was, in my opinion, on a higher plateau than me when it came to this whole pageant thing. But I inspired them because they've never seen nobody like me show up in front of thousands of people to compete in a swimsuit and a formal gown and walk with this gown with a train on when my balance is not the best. But I still did it. And I did it with the fear, but the confidence exuded the fear because I didn't let the fear would have hindered me, but I didn't let that happen. So in business and in life, fear is going to show up. When you show up to that establishment, when you had your interview online and they didn't realize that you had a cane because your interview was online, then you show up and there's that ramp that's on the other end and you got to walk down to the door, but then there's no button. There's a fear there. Like, first of all, how am I finna even get in here? And then when I get in here, I got this cane and I'm the only one who look like I look. So there's a fear there. But then you figure out how to get in that door because you know your faith brought you there. And you show up anyway. And then people see you walking in and you walking. They don't know in your mind it's going crazy. But they see you walking and you smiling. And your confidence is coming out because you're there. You're doing more than the average person by just popping up in a room. Oftentimes, we don't even go into the room because we're afraid of who's in the room and what they're going to say when they see us into the room. But that's the part you don't worry about, because it's not your problem to worry about how nobody feel about you when you show up. It's your problem to just show up. Show up not only for yourself, for but for those who may be looking to see you. They don't even know they need to see you until they see you. I didn't learn that until this week. People did not know they needed to see a strokey like me until I showed up with my red popping glasses and this magnetic energy and just being a joy and a light and just spilling into them what I already possess. And that's a light and a joy. And that's just who I am. So you never really know what your energy is going to do in a room. But if you don't show up, how would you ever find out? So I'm encouraging you that despite the fear you feel, let your faith be the thing that moves you. And then you show up. And you show up with pride. You show up with courage. You show up with confidence. You show up with your light. Because we all possess a special light. Don't nobody light shine brighter than nobody else. It just shines in different ways. That was the most powerful thing that I've got to learn and experience over this weekend. My light, it does not look like everybody else's, but it's bright as anybody else's, just like yours. Your company may be like somebody else's, but it's not going to be ran like somebody else's because of your light. So show up for your people the way you want them to show up for you. And you will just see a whole difference because you're building, what is the word? You're building morale, you're building drive, you're building a passion because you see them for whoever they are. They don't have to fit in, they don't have to try to be something that they just not. You appreciate and value the difference that's in them. And you appreciate it even more because they showed up in a room that wasn't designed for them. That's what it was, y'all. That stage was not designed for me. But I showed up and adapted. In every aspect of your life, you show up and you adapt to whatever it is that's happening around you. Because it's not there to hold you down. It's there to remind you what you can do. You don't know what you can do until you don't have a choice but to do it. And I felt like this pageant was something that I had to do. Because although pageantry was never in my future at one point, you never know what other stroke survivors or even people of a different ability wanted to do a pageant, but they were too afraid because of how they look. And sometimes how you look changes how you feel because of how you see yourself. Not because of how nobody else seen you, not because of what nobody else said, but because of your mentality, your perception of you. So then you don't do it. I am your reminder that yes, you can. In the world that says, no, you can't, I'm not designed for you, you're going to show up anyway and you're going to say, yes, I can. And you're going to say it with a smile. You're going to say it with your chest out. Because yes, you can. Don't let your fear kill your faith and stop you from showing up. You ain't showing up for them in the room. You're showing up for you. You don't even know what that's going to do for not only your confidence, but for the people who looking at you, whether it's your kids, your cousins, your spouse, your friends, people who just see you walking every day or see you trying or see you struggling, but they still see you show up. They seeing you push through. They seeing you be consistent. They see you be persistent. And they're proud. And then you become proud because you see what you had that you didn't even know you had, but you brought it to the table. And that was enough. It don't have to be loud. It don't have to be flamboyant. It don't have to be on a megaphone. It just has to be there. But it starts in you. So when you having all this fear about who looking at you, what they're gonna think, how you don't belong because of where you come from, again, you don't know what that's gonna mean for the person on the outside watching you who's like, I never thought I can do this. I never thought that I can try. But you show them, yes, you can, only because you showed. Remember that showing up is not about you showing up for nobody else. It's about you showing up for you. It's about you building within self. Because when you build in self, it gets to come out and you get to feed it to other people. And then that each one got to reach one because they saw you. And then that's going to teach one because they're going to tell somebody what they see. That's how it goes in everything that we do. Each one, reach one, teach one. So even though you felt what you felt or you feel what you feel, somebody is learning from you. How you handle things is teaching somebody else or giving permission to somebody else to be whoever they are. It's just like not only in that pageant, but doing these fashion shows. I did one about a month ago, and they had me wear a two-piece, and I'm not a skinny girl. And my back fat was out, and my love handles was out, and I walked with a smile and still did what I came to do. And afterwards, somebody came out, and they was just like, thank you. And I'm smiling, being myself, and I'm like, thank you for what? And they're like, thank you, because you just gave me permission to let my back be out and to do it with a smile. I would have never done that had I not seen you just walk this runway with just the biggest smile on your face and wearing that two-piece outfit. And all I can do was smile and just be grateful and show gratitude because all these things are teaching me lessons of a whole different lesson of resilience. It's teaching me lessons of acceptance. It's teaching me lessons of pride and self-love and empowerment and just women building women. Even though my goal is to build people. But again, when you show up, you never know who sees you. So you can't allow your fear to step on your faith. You have to allow your faith to step on your fear and cover that fear so that you can show up anyway. That's the push through. I promise you, it gets greater later. This perfect tool of showing up is something that seems small, but you have no idea how many people can't just show up. There were women who paid to be in this pageant but never showed up. There were people in this pageant that told me how they were once a part of the pageant last year, but their fear didn't allow them to show up because they didn't think they belonged. I didn't think I belonged either. And to some degree, I don't think they'll ever let a strokey in because they're going to be like, shoot, we let this stroke survive in. We're going to have to let them all in. If we let them all in, they're going to mess around and turn us to the Special Olympics pageantry. I don't know. But I had so many jokes about them letting different abilities into this pageant because they will have to change, I guess, what their requirements are about how you walk and all these things. So that was just me. I make jokes when my fear is right there. And I was making jokes how they wasn't gonna let no strokies into this pageant. And although I didn't win, they did let me in. And they adapted to me. I didn't have to adapt to them. Why? Because I showed up. And for them, that was enough. They made it to where I didn't have to do all the stairs like the girls. I could have did the stairs, but it wouldn't have been as graceful or as easy. And so because they wanted to make life not so difficult, they adapted to me. So I adapted to my fear and built the faith and showed up. And by me showing up, God allowed them to adapt their show for me to do what I need to do and walk that stage. And instead of me coming down the stairs like everybody else, I had a presidential suite backstage and was able to change my stuff and do all the things that I needed to do in my special room. And I felt amazing because they was like, we don't want you to feel away or feel isolated or excluded because we put you in this room. I said, honey, I feel like the president. I'm in the presidential suite. Because when you think about, because remember, everything is perception. But when you think about it, when a president goes places, he's not in a room with everybody else. He has his own special room doing his own thing with his special people. And that's what they did for me. So I allowed my fear to step aside and showed up. Then I got a presidential suite and I got special treatment, all because I have a different ability. And it's a great thing. There's nothing wrong with being different because sometimes differences get you great things like a presidential suite, or you get to roll up in front of or walk up in front of the TSA line, or you get your special parking. Now all we asking for is true inclusion, which means we need a button. Can we get real access into a building? It wasn't no button. That's the only thing. That's all we need. Can you truly imagine if we had true inclusion where we really was accepted into a building, people like me, what your ROI will look like, honey, your productivity, the numbers will skyrocket because people will know that they matter and that they have access. That part is it is a game changer. If people really start to understand what their differences bring to a table and how that elevates able bodies because they see how hardworking you are, they see how driven you are, they see what they can do through you. Although your ability is different than theirs, it's slightly better because with your limitations, you still get to get things done that they had no clue about. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I want you to show up. Show up. I see something that I need to address really, really quick. Hold on. We got a comment and it says, my autistic son wasn't allowed in the kindergarten recital. They kept him behind the curtain. First of all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for their ignorance because they don't know what that baby brought to the table. His energy, his love, his light, his passion for just being. So, with that being said, I'm encouraging you to even look for a new school. I'm encouraging you to reach out to your local newspaper and report that because nobody's going to speak up for us but us. And in your case, you're going to speak up for your son. So I'm encouraging you, my friend, to reach out to your local paper. Make some noise. Because I'm about to start making a lot of noise for us. Because different abilities matter. We're no different than anybody else. It just looks different. But everybody in this world possesses a different ability. And nobody should be shunned or felt less than because of it. So please reach out. Matter of fact, I'm about to reach out to you after this podcast, and we're going to talk about some things because he did not deserve to feel that. He did not deserve to feel that. He did not deserve isolation, and I'm so sorry he had to experience that. And I'm glad he's at a new school. But the great part about that is he gets to experience people being people early in life so that he can learn how to adapt to the ignorance of the world and still thrive. Because unfortunately, that's how we live. But we're going to talk about this stuff more, guys. I want to thank you for showing up for Strengthen You Present Straight Talk. I want to thank you for showing up for yourself. And I want to thank you for not giving in to giving up on you. Knowing that when you're down, there's nowhere else to go but up. And don't not do because of your fear. Let your faith step on your fear. And you show up in the room anyway, despite who think you deserve to be there. You need to know you deserve to be there. Know that I love you. You are appreciated. You are needed. You are necessary. And don't never stop coming through with that strength in you, boo. I will see you next week. And we will have a special guest. And know that I love you. Now you go love you because you matter, honey. Subscribe, share, all the things. Because each one needs to reach one and teach one. Bye, honey bun. Love you.
We hit you with that strength in you. We hit you with that strength in you. You got your motivation, you got your inspiration, you got the fuel to feed, hey, every nation. You came through, we strengthen you. You came through, we strengthen you. You got the fuel to do what you do, hey, do it true. We strengthen you.